Hey, I do want to say thank you for coming out today. I couldn't have asked for any better weather, really. Uh, Probably not just as I said. So this is the fifth walk for belonging, and this is an important one. This event is important. It's a way to showcase our work as a community. Um, and I think it would be, the 8 years. 8 years this program has been operating, and it's phenomenal. And it took hard work, blood, sweat, tears. Kristen Plain, and Steve Cleaves, and Brandon O'Brien were the founders of this. They put this thing together, and it's been rocking. And it's one of the reasons I really connect with this particular organization is it's ethical. Anybody that understands the housing circumstance for people that have been incarcerated, that's to say you're ethical that's not the norm. And I hate to say that, but it is not the norm. This is the exception to what is normal, because this is healthy. This is ethical. This puts people back in a good spot on their own 2 feet in all the right ways. So I will hand this off to Christy, and thank you so much for coming.
Hi, everybody. Again, thank you so very much for being here. It's a glorious day. It feels like a real celebration. And special thank you. You're going to hear from all of our tabling organizations, but thank you for coming. Thank you to our community service officers. Thank you for being here. It really feels like a really precious and important thing to be able to be building bridges and community. And sometimes it might feel like law enforcement is on the other side of things. The fact that we can create opportunities for us to have real conversations and share our hearts and share stories with each other is what it's all about. So thank you to all of you for coming. Thank you. Your very presence here means that you support people starting fresh. And hopefully all of us are starting fresh every single day of life. So it doesn't matter what our histories are, it matters what we're mapping towards every single day. Well, thank you. I will also say that for those of you that may know, there are certain parts of geographies that are unavailable to people with certain histories, conviction histories. And so for many people here today, there was special permission that was needed for people to be able to come and celebrate and have conversations. And then there are others who weren't even allowed to be here. So that feels incredibly difficult. I mean, we have chosen Green Lake for 5 years because it is a public space, because it's beautiful, because we want to provide opportunities for nature to be by the water, to be by the flowers, to be joyful together. And it's really difficult when spaces like that are still unavailable for many of the people in our communities. So there are folks that are not here today because they were unable to get permission to be here. And I do really want to hold them up, that they are still very much part of our community. Events like this feel like they are important, and none of it is possible without volunteers, without people in leadership like Rory, our board president, people like Ted, our house leader, who has been so faithful in managing our restorative home. You will hear more about that in a few minutes. But thank you so much, Ted, for all you do every single day. I'd also like to call out, there are sponsors to this event. So silver sponsors, David Dana, his wife Robin Price, thank you so very much for your support. Bronze sponsors, Prison Mathematics Project, thank you so very much. We also have another anonymous sponsor, thank you very much. Before I hand things over back to Rory, I will say that we are celebrating lots of things. As Rory mentioned, this is our 5th Walk for Belonging, but we also just celebrated this week our 400th weekly community circle. So we have been meeting every single week for 8 years, and that is a triumph. Many of you know the story. I used to be a volunteer in the prisons out in Monroe, and did that for several years, and then decided to do the work in a different way and stepped back. And then there were people from the prison workshops that were being released, and due to their conviction histories, the reentry resources, which are already thin, were not available to the very people that I had spent years growing with and learning with and hearing their stories, watching them grow and change. And that felt impossibly difficult and just really shameful that we as a society are not doing better. So the intention was not to form an organization. The intention was not to form another nonprofit. The intention was just to gather in community and to provide resources and friendship and support for folks needing extra care. And it was the folks in that very first circle who decided that they wanted a house. So we had met each other in nonviolent communication workshops, NVC workshops, and they wanted to open an NVC house. They wanted to have a house that was not faith-based, that would not weaponize faith. They wanted it to be based in nonviolent principles. And they wanted it to be open to anyone, regardless of conviction history. And we didn't find an organization that offered those things. So we got together, Steve Cleaves, thank you, in a hat, another co-founder of our organization, with a lot of scrappiness, and we didn't really know what we were doing this. We made that first home in Rainier Beach possible. And we opened that September 1st of 2018 for 5 individuals that were all out of incarceration. And we've been going ever since. We're now in a bigger house. We now help 7 people at a time. You'll hear more about that from Ted. But this is our 8th year of housing. It's going strong. 400 weekly community circles, going strong, events like this one, and we couldn't do it without your support. So thank you to all of you.
So it's important to address the fact that in this space with us right now are people who went through the meat grinder of the legal system and came out on the other side. That's really important. I am one of them. I did 11 years on a 12-year sentence, and I got out 2.5 years ago. And when I got out, it was to one of those transition homes that wasn't so ethical. I didn't have a community of belonging for myself. I went out to one that was filthy, dirty. There was 18 people in a 3-man home. It was disgusting. And that's what the prisons wind up going to. Because that's just what the options are. And it's unfortunate. And at this point, through a little tenacity and some amazing friendships, many of which are right here, I made it to the other side, and I'm doing okay. So I'm gonna bring up Ted, and he's gonna tell you a little bit more.
Descriptive intro. First step is to know exactly what you're supposed to talk about. But no, the house has been an incredible part of life for the last 2.5 years. We just had our first transition since February of 24. This last month, Vince left. It's on terms to go back to his house. But and Jeff joined us after 9 months of waiting to get in. One of the keys I've always wanted to build in business now is to build an aspirational good. I always think that if you build something people aspire to, you really build something great. And clearly, with Jeff waiting 9 months to be a part of our organization, it's been a clear point that people aspire to be here. And what's different is, as we meet folks that follow this work, what's different is many different little things. But the biggest thing is that we really do care. I try in the house, we have 7 people, and I try to make sure that everyone is at least talked to every day, and that we're well aware of each other, what each other's needs. So, because the accountability you have yourself is part of it, the accountability to people you live with is an equally important part of the journey. And especially as things come about, challenges in life, what am I going to eat tonight? What am I going to do if I can't get home to do something that I need to do? How do I get that covered? Well, there's other people in the house that can help with all that. So the more camaraderie you build in a house, the more that becomes just second nature. And so living in the house, I've been able to build a whole new enterprise business while I've been there. I've been able to build great friendships, been able to have a house that's very stable and where the behaviors have all been crystalline and sterling this whole time in terms of the fact that nobody's gone back to incarceration, nobody's indulged in any substance abuse issues. We've had great success and really become a signature of how great an insular and supportive organization can be in terms of bettering a journey that is by no means easy and by no means a straight line and by no means something where there's a lot of help along the way. We can be a little bit of that help. We now have everyone that we're in the house either has government assistance or has a permanent job. So that's a big milestone. Yeah, big financial security. We obviously, none of us are, except for James, underfed, and so there's always plenty of food everywhere. So the idea is if we're taking care of, if you remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs from classes, the bottom part of the pyramid, we take really good care of. You've got your shelter, you've got your food, you've got financial security assured for folks. And that journey has become really a signature in the last couple of years of my life. I feel very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And as I've got, not counting, but 62 days left on my probation with DOC, the ability to see the end of that tunnel is just a part of the overall tunnel of what I've been able to help in building here at the house. And it's a huge thanks out to Christy for the fact that we had something really unique to be part of. This is something that I've never heard of with everyone in the state of Washington, the Smart Housing Governor's Committee. And I haven't heard of another place like this where there's permanence to the housing, where there's quite the level of care and concern and the investment in each of the individuals that we've been able to instill here at Ms. Washington. So thanks again, Christy, for putting this together.
And this is just one piece of it. The housing is just one piece of it. We have a lot of community partners here today that would let them speak for themselves. The first one, because they didn't have a representative here, but they did donate, was Books to Prisoners, which is a branch of Left Bank Books down in Seattle, right outside Pike's Place Market. And Books to Prisoners is the only organization that's allowed to ship used books into prison. Consider that. Consider that. Whenever books are otherwise sent in, they have to be purchased by, with like actual dollars from like Amazon. So it's important to recognize this one organization that's able to get use bucket, and they've been doing it for since the 70s. So that's it's really important to recognize their work because that brings in the unconventional and non-standard education forms that people in prison grow from. Because not everybody can get into a college course, but everybody can read a book. And you'll find a lot of those books in the day rooms and stuff like that. It's important. But I'm gonna recognize organizations today with the Prison Mathematics Project. Is yeah, you wanna say something about that?
Hi everyone, my name's Yael, and I'm here representing the Prison Math Project today. One of the tragedies of living prison is that the guy who's really responsible for Prison Math Project, Christopher Havens, is unable to be here today. He's still at Shelton, despite a 5 out of 5 unanimous recommendation for clemency by the Clemency Board. So if you have a direct line of communication to Bob Ferguson, tell him I'm angry about this. Yeah, so I hope I can do Christopher a little bit proud today by talking about him and the org. Yeah, so Christopher was in solitary confinement for a couple years straight, and during that, he was getting flipped Sudoku puzzles, and he had never finished high school as a high school dropout. Had a really, really tough set of circumstances that led him to prison, and he just got obsessed with Sudoku while he was in the ICU. And over time, he wanted to learn more about numbers and figure out himself how these all fit together. And now, 10 years later, from Shelton, Christopher is a published mathematician. He has number theory papers published. He's writing a textbook on number theory. He holds a research assistantship from UCLA from a cryptography professor there. He is an absolute genius. And that's all just from curiosity and having access to prison math available tools. And he started conversing with mathematicians all around the world. So through Christopher at Shelton, I've been able to meet like Italian mathematicians who flew in to meet and collaborate with Christopher. He's amazing. And yeah, so he founded Prison Mathematics Project, which originally was just pen pals connecting mathematicians and people in academia with folks on the inside to recreate what he had been able to make for himself. And part of the goal was like, you know, this is about math and giving people access to education, which we know is such a vehicle for preventing recidivism and things like that. But it's also about more than math. It's about believing in yourself, thinking that you're more than the worst thing you've ever done. And through math, you have to try things that you've never tried before. You have to go out on a limb and see, what if I did this? Well, I wonder if that would work. And all of these tools to get quote unquote better at math, are also tools to become a better person and a more confident person and to believe in yourself. And so now Prison Mathematics Project, we also go into prisons, I think, all over the US now. But the first one is when we started at Monroe at TRU. And every other week we have about 15 teachers who come in to TRU, and we teach like 30 to 40 students. And we have small groups based on basic math all the way up to advanced machine learning, linear algebra, matrix multiplication, really crazy stuff. We have science, we teach creative writing too. And anyway, if you're interested in joining, we have some materials over here. If you're interested in being a pen pal or typing up papers for Christopher and other mathematicians inside, or getting access to our newsletter, or coming inside to actually teach, anything in between, if you'd like to get involved, or if you know anyone inside, especially at TRU, who would like to join, I have instructions for them on how to join. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, go Christopher Havens. You can look him up, read more about him.
Thank you. Yeah, Christopher is a good friend of mine, and I met him back in 2014, and it was really interesting when I saw his article that was published in Popular Mechanics, and I was like, wow, real. But the guy, I mean, he's just, and what Yael's been able to bring back into Monroe has been fantastic because COVID really, really damaged a lot of involvement in the prisons, and so thank you for bringing that back in. So part of this journey is, connecting with reasons to stay out, and that's, the education is a big thing for reasons to stay out and to do good in the community. And we have a wonderful group, the Huskies for Opportunities in Prison Education, which is a registered student organization at the University of Washington. And they're representing today, and I'll let Katie Rose talk about that.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Rory mentioned, I am one of the leaders of Huskies for Opportunities in Prison Education, aka HOPE. We are a student organization at the University of Washington Seattle campus. However, we also always welcome community members. And our community extends beyond just the campus into the prison. So we have volunteers working up at Monroe, mainly with the Concerned Lifers organization and alliances. And our goal, we are a prison abolitionist organization, and our goal is to expand education access on the inside. So we do educational events on UW campus, educating people about the prison industrial complex, UW's use of prison labor, and just kind of have hosting panel events and people with lived experience. And then we also connect people with folks on the inside. So we have book clubs, we do prison visits, and of course we have people who consistently go up every week as prison volunteers. And so we do so much, and we're ever expanding. But we really appreciate being here and being community with you. If you're interested, take a pamphlet from our table.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so interesting fact about UW Hope, they also would send in an honors class, many years ago, before COVID. And it was great for guys like me to connect in a meaningful way on academic collaboration. It's a motivator. Like, it makes you feel normal when you're inside a prison. So that the work that they continue to do is just phenomenal. I appreciate that. One more that I'm going to bring up is Underground Ministries, and Candace, come on up.
Thanks for the intro. Hi, I'm Candace Bauman. Well, it's just, I wasn't expecting to talk today, to be honest. So I work for this program called Underground Ministries. Underground Ministries is a program called One Parish, One Prisoner. And it's based on the idea that there's as many churches in Washington as there are people incarcerated. So we have about 15,000 men, 800 women currently incarcerated. And what we do is we pair those people with one church community. So they come home to family, to a community, to service projects like I do for my everyday life. I swear I'm at one every day. It's an amazing program. Like, what I do for a living is I go and I preach every Sunday at a different church. So if you have any churches that you think might be interested in just developing friends, getting to know someone inside, like, hit me up. We do stuff like this in the community to just make connections, to have you know about the program. Currently, we have 100 churches in Washington State that are connected to just one person coming home. And I was one of those people 3 years ago. I released to Thurston County to a church named Westminster Presbyterian. And I'm still here today. Been out of prison for 3 years, sober for 9. Thank you. So I guess I can see it works. So if you want to talk to me more about it, like let me know. Thank you, Maury. Appreciate letting me say something.
Thank you. I do a lot of collaborative work with Candace as well, and like the reentry game is difficult, to say the least, because you got folks that come out of incarceration after sometimes decades, and it's a struggle. So having folks in the community that are like, hey, I'll grab you by the hand and we'll take you where you need to go and do the thing that you have absolutely no idea how to do. That's the game changer. So I want to appreciate Candace for that kind of stuff. At this point, we also have our community safety officers. Asia and Chris, and we'll let them tell you what they do. But we are so proud to have them.
So we are community service officers for Seattle City, which means we're civilians that work for the police department, and we help the community with pretty much non-criminal matters. Usually after the fact, after a crime has been committed, sometimes we'll help the victims. It's a wide variety of things. Sometimes we deal with domestic violence victims that don't know what to do next, and sometimes it's businesses who don't know how to make their business safer. Pretty much, we try and figure out what issues community members or businesses are dealing with, and we try to connect them to the appropriate resources. Pretty much, we're resource connectors. We also act as a liaison between the community and the police department. Sometimes officers will be on a call, realize it doesn't need an officer presence, and request us to come and take over. So we do a wide variety of things. We get a lot of training with mental health and crisis situations, as well as safety things and de-escalation. So we're here to make connections. We're here to connect everyone to something that might help them. And we're happy to be invited out to something like this. It's great to be out here in the community. If you do want to come and talk to us, we'll be over here.
Thank you. Are there any other organizations out here that haven't been represented? All right, well then I will suggest everybody at this moment is we're going to do the raffle. We're going to get into that, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to get any last minute tickets in. Oh, and we are going to do a group photo, so don't wander off.